This podcast is sponsored by CDO Group, the industry leader providing a full range of construction and project management services. CDO Group has managed thousands of projects in all 50 states. Their group of experts provides systems, processes, and procedures to make sure that your projects turn over on time and on budget every single time. With over 24 years of experience, CDO Group is the industry's leader in construction management and general contracting services. To find them, go to cdogroup.com. Hi, and welcome to the Future of Development podcast. My name's Anthony Amunategui, and I'm here to inspire people to find amazing careers in the construction development world. If you like our podcast, please make sure you hit the subscribe button down below. If you really like our podcast, make sure you hit the little bell. So Kevin, welcome to the show. I'm excited about having you on. You know, this product you guys have come up with is, it's amazing. You know, the product you found, this RCC, is an amazing product and, you know, a new way of doing, you know, construction. And I love that. You know, for me, that's ultimate. But before we get to tell everybody about this new process, I want to go a little bit back about you, right? How did you get in this business? And give me a little bit about you.
Hi, Anthony. Thanks for having me on here. I'm a third generation concrete contractor. My grandpa started the business back in '74. My dad's the current owner right now. And then I grew up as a kid kind of coming to the shop, messing around and doing different things, and started washing trucks, running parts, running tools to the crews, and then graduated high school and decided I'm going to try the laborer's field for a couple, 2-3 years. And then I fit in there and I did some night classes and then decided to go full in on college and got a construction management degree from Western Illinois.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a great construction school. You know, they're doing a lot of great stuff down there. And you know, having a family that's in the business, you're already hearing the language at home, at the dinner table every night. You're around the business, and you know, now getting the background part of it, and then you get to go have some fun before you have to go out to work. It's going to that school was a lot of fun, I bet.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Learn more about partying and enjoying life a little bit.
Hey, as every college kid do, I always say the two most important parts of college are, 1, have fun, most important. 2, learn how to do your own laundry, right? I mean, if you get those two things done, you get to a point where your clothes smell so bad, you're like, I got to go do my own laundry at some point, or this is going to, and then sheets come in there somewhere, you get all those knocked out. You're like, if I don't, these sheets are going to smell so bad, they're going to walk away. So that's awesome. So now you're third generation in the business, and you've looked at it. What's great is that now you bring a new mentality to it, right? You're looking at the business different. You've carried a lot of weight from the old school way of doing things, which I believe our business has been very prehistoric, right? We built, my number one expression is, we built a Coliseum, and the Boston markets that I built, very much the same, right? We built them, we carry, very heavy crap over to a place, we banged on it, and all of a sudden we had a Boston market, or we had a McDonald's, or we had, the system we used was not very different than they did the Coliseum. Maybe a couple advances with some technology, but now we're starting to see new products like what you've got going, new ideas, new blood is coming to it, and we're taking all this great technology that's happening in all these other industries, and now we're applying them to our industry, and it takes guys like yourself to look at the business different than ever before. Right? What made you see this? And first of all, let's tell the audience a little bit about what RCC is.
So RCC is called roller compacted concrete, using a high density asphalt paver to lay some concrete down, the concrete's at a 0-inch slump coming out of a dump truck, which is kind of untraditional as could be.
Yeah. Right.
And the concrete just looks like a bunch of dirty rocks. Everyone who's kind of watched us from the outside, not knowing what we're doing, like, what are you guys doing over there? It's all about the aggregate interlock and your compaction and your density. So you're trying to get as much as you can out of that paver to get its flat, smooth surface. And then we're running a roller over the top of that to get our 98% compaction. After that, what we've done with it is we've taken to the next step is we power troweled the top of the concrete to give it a more traditional broom finish.
That's cool. So let's go back. So this is what's fun. You've taken an asphalt machine, right? An asphalt layer,
yeah,
and you've now converted that. Now, so you're taking the mixed truck, and are you putting the back? You put the stuff in the back of dump trucks, right? So This is in the back of a dump truck. It's coming out, and you're shaking it out of the truck and dropping it into the asphalt layer. Right. And how are you getting that? How are you getting that to come out of there at the right height and density and density from there?
So once it comes from the dump truck into the paver, the conveyors on the paver are bringing it down with some augers, and then on the backside on that high frequency, we've got tamper bars and a vibrator that get our compaction after that and getting our smoothness and setting our elevations as you would with like an asphalt, where you set your starting pads and you just kind of go with it, set your speeds and let her rip.
So are these small lifts? I mean, how big of a lift can you do? How thick of a slab can you do?
So with our paver, we're running about 9 inches thick.
Wow. So this is coming out at 9 inches thick, right? And give me the difference. So the mix that you're using, give me the number. What's the difference in the way that mix is coming out?
The mix is pretty traditional to your normal concrete mix. The biggest thing is that the water. We barely have any water. We're just getting enough to create the paste to help the cement kind of formulate, and we're running a 0-inch slump on the concrete.
Wow. So how do they figure that out? That's a unique one, and you got to giddy up with. You guys got to be getting up on this.
Yeah, so we did some testing last year at the ready mix plant, figuring out optimal moisture content and stuff like that with the material that we would use for different sites, and that's how we kind of come up with our mix designs and seeing where we're at, and we're checking our percentages as we're paving to see if we got too much water, not enough, and we're watching that with our testing agency.
That's awesome. So now you're reading a magazine. And
yeah,
and you find this product. I think that's what you were telling me in pre-call. And then tell me, so you find this and you go to Dad and Grandpa and say, hey, look, I've got this great idea. And like any great ideas to the old guard, there's a little bit of resistance. So how do you break through the resistance to go after this?
So yeah, we were kind of reading it, and then we have a couple big clients that we work with all the time, and we were like, hey, they've got some big lots that they were looking at doing last year. And we were like, hey, what do you think about trying some roller compacted concrete? And the nice thing that we looked at was a Vogela paver, which the contractor we work with owns the Vogela paver, the working group. So we were like, hey, we can use, all your brand on one project to get it all done. And so they liked that idea. The clients did. And then kind of going to Dad about it, he's like, are you sure about this?
Yeah, right.
The guy we've been working with from Vogela, Nars is his name. And he's like, it's a gray area. Asphalt guys don't want to do concrete, and concrete guys don't want to mess with asphalt pavers and stuff. So it's a very gray area that nobody has. There's some contractors that are doing it, but it's different to understand the whole process. You got no concrete, you got no asphalt. And so that's where we're kind of learning a lot of tricks and tips and stuff like that.
I believe that it takes a young mind like yours to see this, right? To push it and try it on. What happens, and I've been doing this my whole career, and I love change. I love trying stuff on, but we get stuck in these patterns, and we don't want to go step out too far and try something else that's unknown. And, I look at young guys and go, they don't know they can't do something. So they're just looking for what's the most efficient way to do something. Oh, taking ideas and bringing that to it. And sometimes I think that's where the magic is. Sometimes not knowing you can't do something is the magic, right? That's what really starts and it really gets the leading edge of new ideas, is that you're not stuck in knowing, right? Not stuck in, I know this exactly to be this way, so let's try on something new. So your first project you go on and you start this, what did you have to go through to make that happen?
So we did some quite a bit of testing here at our shop, where we did some test pours with the paver and getting mixes right, getting people to come. We had engineers coming over. We had a random group of people just coming to watch to see what we were doing. And so they kind of were like, let's go for it. Let's roll it and see what happens. And so
you're on the line of scrimmage. You're getting ready to go pull this thing off. And now all of a sudden you're like, hey, I wouldn't mind an extra hand. Just look, I get it. Anytime I do something and I've never gone there before, find the people that have done this before and play off of them. Find ways that, makes the learning curve a little bit easier. No need for me to go out there and try something on and not engage the folks who've already done it.
Yeah, and that was the biggest thing. I didn't want to fail miserably. I know we're going to have our issues here and there, but I felt pretty comfortable with how we did it. And, our first couple pays that we learned quite a bit as we were going and did some different things, different tricks that we learned from him and some things that we thought would bring a better product.
That's awesome. So, that taking what's known and figuring out what's hey, that's how you did it. And then taking the experience that dad and grandpa have and the people that are in the company, I'm going, hey, look, this is my idea. And stepping out over that new boundary. So give me the idea of the mix. So it's coming out a little bit drier, right? A lot less water. The slumps, a lot shorter. And now you've got, how fast is your cure time? Let's go through that stuff and cost. Let's kind of go through where you're starting to see the added value.
Once we've got it out of the paver and we've put our broom finish in it, we're throwing our cure right on top of that to get it cured, because you got to keep the hydration, the water as much as you can, because there's not much in there. So to help the concrete achieve its strengths and give you a quality product. And then shortly after the cure is done, we're saw cutting. We're getting our soft cut saws out there and we're cutting the concrete instantly. So it's, we're, like everyone says, early entry, but a lot of times with your traditional, you're still waiting a day to get in there to cut. And we're a couple hours right behind ourselves cutting it. And in a day we're opening it light duty traffic, cars, trucks. And I think in one day we had about 3,000 PSI.
Wow. That's awesome, right? I mean, that's definitely getting early open and, making the difference, and people are got to be paying attention to it. Have you had any pushback? Where are you getting pushback? Cities, inspectors, anybody giving you any pushback? Because obviously you're breaking new ground and they're not seeing this. So how are you achieving and breaking through those barriers?
Yeah, and that's, RCC's been around since the 30s. They were using it up in Canada and stuff like that, and like lumber yards and log yards and stuff like that. And so it's been around for a while. It's starting to gain more and more traction with, accelerating schedules, and people are the pavers are getting better. We're able to provide a better surface. The way people can grind roads are getting better. So, the smoothness, you're starting to meet more and more specs with it all. Some of the pushback is, your reinforcement, especially in cities where they want dowels and stuff like that. You don't have much, you're not doing any reinforcement between joints and stuff like that, because it's so dry. Your paver will crush your dowel baskets and stuff like that as it's going through. So I think, you got your traditional engineers that are like, nah, we don't, how are you going to reinforce your joints? How are you going to do this? How are you going to do that? And they're nervous about it.
Sure. I mean, obviously. And as you guys start to look at their requests and start to look at that, my guess is that you're going to start to find ways of achieving that. It's not until I push a limit do I know where the wheels, I always say, you got to mash on the gas pedal before you figure out, when the wheels are going to fall off. And once you figure out where the wheels are, where I have a problem, now I can start to do something to make, to fix that problem, where I can make everybody happy and make the specifications even better, right? Every growth edge takes a little bit. And oftentimes this is where products get stopped. Someone has a great idea. They go out and execute on it, and then the naysayers, they're like the Mexican crabs that want to pull the other crabs that are trying to get out of the bucket back down. Instead of pushing them up to get out of the bucket, instead of helping you find solutions for it, the naysayers want to go backwards, and you're like, hey, look, let's come up with solutions that move us forward. Look, this is obviously a product that helps us grow the business, achieve, substantial speed, and talk about cost savings. So where are you at cost savings wise?
So we saw on a couple of projects that we had last year, we saw about 5 to 10% cost savings from your traditional concrete methods of, you're not forming anything, you're not stripping forms, and, everyone saw the cost of lumber where it went. And, that's where we were looking at savings, and we saw labor savings, and that's one of the biggest things that we looked at too, is it's hard to find the people. So how do we start pouring concrete right away and don't have to form up a bunch of things, have laborers that are carpenters, finishers, and everyone forming our slabs up.
I think that's amazing, right? And definitely in today's time with material shortages and cost overruns, and finding great help makes it really, really tough. And any place that we can find somewhere we can save on both sides of that equation, for sure. And you can see the future of this being able to go much, much faster. And as you start to break through this technology, that price even coming further down, right? Being able to automate this a lot more, get machinery and equipment, and even bring in, robotics that will do this much faster. Today you're breaking through a new technology, right? This is something that was all done by hand before this. Today. Now we're going to a machinery that can do that, and then if machinery can do it, you can very easily see how we can get automated with that very, very quickly, and that ultimately saves time, labor, and allows us to do so many other things that were more productive.
I agree 100%. Yeah. And that's one of the things that we looked at, we look at our, some of our finishers, bending over and striking off and the back breaking and stuff like that. We were looking at, how do we help save these guys' backs, their labors and stuff. And I was asking some of our laborers at Puddle for us, like, hey, is this how you like it? And like, oh, we might have a little bit of hard work here or there, but this is so nice. You just kind of walking around and you're just taking care of things and it's not as beat up on you.
You'll get those guys that want to slow things down and say, well, you're taking someone's job. Look, if automation is taking your job, you had a really crappy job, right? It was backbreaking, tedious, not very, it wasn't great for my life. Today, I can now look at, automating this, getting onto equipment that drives. I can stop breaking my back from the way that was. And, it's always funny when the guys who are slowing things down, they're the same guys on the job site who are slowing things down. Doesn't matter what you do, right? They're the exact same folks on there that are going, oh, this equipment's taking my job. I'm like, yeah, great. It's never the great guys on the job site that are trying to make you more productive. It's always the naysayer. And to me, that's the one I'm like, dude, stop. All day long, I got to hear that guy in my ear on a job site somewhere. And you're like, and it's about everything. It's about the way the food truck shows up, to the way that, people interact with each other all day long. And they're that way at home, and they bring it to the job site, where when we start to think like you're doing, like, hey, look, how can I be more creative? And stepping out there, man, Kevin, I am so proud to know about your technology. And what's fun is, as you do this, you inspire others to do the same thing. Step out on the thin branches of life, and just know that the industry is thirsty for it, right? There are thousands and thousands of people that are out there breaking their backs and having a tough time at this. And as you start to make this a smarter place, you're changing the business, and ultimately are saving our resources and making jobs safer for our people. Right. And people can go home a lot safer every day if I can automate this, rather than having to sit in a puddle and work around equipment that's moving, and, things that are swinging around. There's lots of embedded dangers in that process.
Yeah, definitely. And, it's been fun for us, and we've been fortunate that, a lot of our guys have been working with us and who've done concrete for 10, 15, 20 years. They were kind of known, they had some reserve, but for the most part, they jumped right in there with me and were like, let's go for it. Let's try it. We didn't have a whole lot of blowback that everyone was like, I don't know about this one.
No, right. It's absolutely the next changing part of this. And it'll take a little bit, right? Like anything new, it's going to take everybody a little bit of time to go, okay, and shake it off. And then they'll move forward, right? It happens in every part of what we do. Now, what I say is, we can't see by you creating this, what people aren't going to be able to see is what's really going to be created because of this, right? Now that you and your company are starting to embrace this, what we oftentimes can't see is what the ripple effect of this kind of a change will happen. Right. So, the way of thinking, the way of looking at it, the way of being in the business, like, okay, look, if we can try this on, what else can we try on? Right. If we can do that, and then how do you start looking at a 3-generation business and becoming more effective? And, ultimately the client gets a better product, because now we're more efficient, we're more cost conscious, and we deliver, better on time projects that everybody's looking for.
Yeah, definitely. That was kind of our biggest kick, and one of the things that we looked at, when we kind of went down this avenue was, everyone's got a laser screed now. There's laser screeds everywhere. And that was the big move in the concrete world, where, you went from 10,000 square feet to 20,000 to 30,000 to 40,000. And You're starting to save on your finishers and your labors on the job with the laser screeds. And it's like, okay, well, everyone's got a laser screed. So what can we do opposite of that?
Yeah, right. And it's constantly looking for the leapfrog technology. And what's fun is there are, in every other industry out there, there are great technologies to apply. And it's going to take young guys like you that are willing to go out there and go, hey, folks, we've been doing it this way, but what do you guys think about trying this on? And then the folks that you work with, I mean, bravo to your family and for having the guts to go along with you and try it on. Look, if it makes it or not makes it, no matter what happens, trying on new stuff is where we've got to be. Continuously trying on, and my guess is that's why you're a 3-generation company, that you guys have embraced change throughout the years, and that's you can't have been stagnant and still be around for that long.
Yeah, that's for sure. And I said to some of our older guys that worked with my grandpa, and I was like, "What do you think he'd do right now?" And they're like, "He'd be laughing at you, and he'd be proud of what you're doing and stuff like that. He would think he'd think it's pretty neat to see this."
I bet, right? I mean, to bet to see, especially his grandson trying on new ideas for the business. That has got to be. Look, I'm a dad, and how proud I would be to watch my son or my grandson really continue to take the business and try on the new stuff. And all of us that are out there are proud of you. Thanks for being brave and thinking outside the box and coming up with new stuff. By the way, I see that you're wearing a Georgia Bulldog over there. Give me a little of that background. Are you a Bulldog fan?
Yeah, go Dogs. I just I would say when our first son was born about 4 years ago, I always said to my wife, I want him to go to SEC school. I'm going to go down there and tailgate and see football games down there instead of the Midwest. And so just recently we did some work in Augusta, Georgia, and I was down there and I picked up 3 hats for me and the 2 boys. And so every once in a while I'll throw a Georgia hat on, and with the national championship, I thought I would throw it on too.
Nice. How old are your boys?
So I've got Nolan, who's 4, and James, who's 20 months. So
many blessings.
Having
children is, and having a dad that's active in their life, it's awesome. That is one of the best joys in life, and I'm sure your grandfather knew that, and your father knows that. And as you develop your family and your team, many blessings to you. As you're the kids' favorite toys, right?
Yeah.
It's fun being dad, and as they grow up, and then all of a sudden they need a break away from it. I'm going through that now, where I've got a couple of kids that are getting older, and now they're out. And I'm like, oh my God, they're out. One's in the business, one's not in the business. So it takes a little bit to get used to, but it brings me much joy to watch them grow. So
that's awesome.
I hope the same for you. And Kevin, if people get excited as I am about your idea and what you guys are doing as a team, and they want to hire you and bring you guys on, or know more about how to do this, how do they get a hold of you?
So I have an Instagram page, Anderson Commercial Concrete on Instagram. And then you can look up me personally, that I post some stuff there at KChum4. And then my email is kevinc@accinc.biz, B-I-Z.
And we'll put all that down the bottom, and some great pictures and some video that Kevin's got of the process of doing this. And it's fabulous. If you can really take a second and take a look at this. RCC is a neat idea, and it's something we've done for a while, and now it's starting to see something that's a breakthrough in our business. Kevin, I am glad, as you come up with any of your new stuff that you're working on, as you're breaking through this stuff, please come back and share that with us. Our listeners are excited about hearing about all the new technology. So thanks a lot.
Thank you, Anthony. Thanks for having me, and we'll definitely look you up when we start doing more with RCC and some of the technology we bring to it.
Cool. Thanks. Thanks for joining us. My name is Anthony Amunategui, always looking for people to bring insight into the industry, finding ways to inspire people to have amazing careers in the development world. If you liked our podcast, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below. If you really liked our podcast, make sure you hit the little bell. Thanks again for listening. Please share it with your friends.